you've named Governor Landry to be new special envoy to Greenland.
Yeah.
How do you, what do you see that role entailing? And is it still your intention that Greenland
Well, he called
become
me,
part
and
of the
you know,
U.S.?
he viewed Louisiana, the Louisiana Purchase. He said, "I'm governor of Louisiana," and he said, "I would love." I didn't call him; he called me. He's very proactive. He's a great guy. He's a deal guy. He's a deal maker type guy. And we need it for national protection. We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. And I don't know, they say Denmark, but Denmark has spent no money. They have no military protection. If they say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat, well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So
Die neue Ankündigung nehmen wir zur Kenntnis und unsere Position als Bundesregierung hat sich auch dahingehend gar nicht geändert. Die Zukunft Grönlands liegt in den Händen der Grönländerinnen und Grönländer und die territoriale Integrität des Königreichs Dänemark, wo Grönland ein autonomer Teil dieses Königreichs ist, genauso wie die Färöer, ist unbestritten und diese gilt.
But what do you know? The United States continues to alienate its closest allies even more than many thought possible, thanks to our current president. You see, just this week, Trump appointed a US lawmaker as a special envoy to Greenland, an autonomous Danish territory. And well, response from Copenhagen and the EU shows that US diplomacy is unraveling before our eyes. Trump, clearly undeterred by diplomatic norms or the plain fact that you can't just annex another country, appointed Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry as a special envoy to Greenland. That's right, not ambassador, not negotiator, a special envoy. So why is that a problem? Well, because Greenland's part of Denmark, a NATO ally and an EU partner. And as to be expected, the move has ignited a full-blown diplomatic protest from Denmark.
It is not for me here to comment on US decisions, but what I can say about the EU position is the following, which has been our long-standing position on the matter, that preserving the territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark, its sovereignty, and the inviolability of its borders is essential for the European Union.
Denmark's foreign minister declared the move, quote, completely unacceptable and has called in the US ambassador for an explanation. To be expected, the Danish government is insisting that territorial integrity and sovereignty must be respected and has reaffirmed that Greenland belongs to Greenlanders, not to foreign governments with robust mineral interests and an egomaniac hell-bent on taking it for himself. But I mean, why don't we just ask the people of Greenland what they think of a possible MAGA takeover?
A lot about Trump and also their opinion about Trump.
I hate it. And basically, I don't know what he's aiming at.
Me personally, I want to stick with Danish government.
Well, most of the people that we talked with said that they did not support Trump's comments and found them offensive.
And Danish and Greenlandic leaders have made it clear throughout Donald Trump's reign so far, you cannot annex another country. It doesn't matter if you appoint an envoy.
This reeks of someone who has been lobbying the administration for a year for a good job to get out of his current job. And this is what they give him, which I bet you was not his first choice, considering he has no experience in diplomacy, no experience in foreign policy, no experience in the Arctic, no experience with the Kingdom of Denmark, but yet now he is solely responsible for getting Greenland. Well, Jeff, one thing, Greenland is a little different from Louisiana. You may want to go there in January and see for yourself, because I bet you'll be running for the hills real fast. But second, look, guys, in an administration of extraordinarily unqualified appointments, and we all know who they are, this one might actually take the cake, for God's sake. And two, look, it just boggles my mind that we have to end the year this way, because the only thing this appointment really does is serve to poke in the eye once again some of our best allies, and that's the Danes and the Greenlanders. So on behalf of a hell of a lot of Americans, Danes, Greenlanders, my friends, I'm so sorry.
But this isn't just a Danish problem, right? It's become a broader European issue, which is why EU leaders have publicly backed Denmark's territorial sovereignty and stressed that national borders within the EU framework must be respected. I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation in 2025 is ridiculous. An EU spokesperson emphasized that preserving the territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark, including Greenland, is essential.
So first, I'd like your reaction to seeing Denmark, a NATO treaty ally, looking across the Atlantic at the U.S. and seeing a potential threat. Tell me how the two countries got here.
We've had great relations with the United States for centuries, and we have appreciated the relations we had since the Americans helped liberate Europe and our country in the Second World War. And we've been very loyal allies to each other for the past 80 years. We've participated in all the major U.S.-led wars in Korea, in the Gulf, and many other places in Afghanistan, Iraq, and so on. So it's not great that now we're receiving threats regarding Greenland, which is the main concern from a Danish point of view.
Yeah. Listen, as I've reminded viewers and others, Denmark did some of the hardest combat duty in Afghanistan as well and lost many of its soldiers and quite a large percentage of Denmark's overall forces there. As you know, there are many in this country who disagree with the U.S. president on its approach to Denmark, including both Democratic and Republican lawmakers. Do you believe there is anything standing in the way of President Trump continuing to antagonize Denmark? So, I mean, my question is this just about President Trump, or do you believe the entire country, in effect, has turned against Denmark?
No, we don't believe the entire United States of America has turned against Denmark or against Europe. We know very well that there's a lot of different opinions in the American public. And we've also seen polls citing that there's not a majority of the population that agrees with the idea of starting a war with Denmark to take over Greenland that doesn't want to be part of the United States. So I would hope that reason would stand in the way of this happening.
And here's the thing, right? This isn't just about Greenland. It's a broader issue. You know, the very isolationist strategy that even the most staunch Republicans have warned against in the past, Donald Trump is hell-bent on upholding.
What's interesting about our country, if you study history, is that there are some isms that occasionally pop up. One is isolationism, and its evil twin protectionism, and its evil triplet nativism. So if you study the 20s, for example, there was an American first policy that said, who cares what happens in Europe? Well, what happened in Europe mattered eventually because of World War II. There was Smoot-Hawley, which was a part of an economic policy, which basically said we don't want trade. In other words, let's throw up barriers. And there was an immigration policy that I think during this period argued we had too many Jews and too many Italians, therefore we should have no immigrants. And my point to you is we've been through this kind of period of isolationism, protectionism, nativism. I'm a little concerned that we may be going through the same period.
Because at the exact same time that Trump is provoking Denmark and the EU over Greenland, he is also alienating allies through his aggressive U.S. maritime operations, particularly in the Caribbean. I mean, Trump officials have made it clear their intentions regarding Venezuela. And according to multiple reports, the United Kingdom deliberately withheld intelligence from the United States regarding these very attacks. This comes after Trump authorized U.S. naval actions against suspected vessels near Venezuelan waters, action that British officials feared could lead to illegal strikes or escalation. Like, we just report on these things like it's normal. I mean, this is the United Kingdom, America's closest intelligence partner, part of the Five Eyes alliance. And they decided, you know what? We can't trust how the Trump administration would use shared intelligence. And so we're going to just stop sharing it, or some of it at least.
A breaking news exclusive now coming into the Situation Room. Watch this. The United Kingdom is suspending, listen to this, suspending some of its intelligence sharing with the U.S. because of the Trump administration's strikes against alleged drug boats in the Caribbean.
We are joined now by senior White House reporter Kevin Liptak and CNN national security correspondent Natasha Bertrand. Natasha, to you first with this exclusive reporting. I mean, this is a big deal. The UK is arguably the closest ally to the United States when it comes to intelligence sharing. What else do we know?
Yeah, Pam, it's a really significant rupture here. Essentially, what we're learning is that the UK is no longer sharing intelligence with the US about these suspected drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean because it does not want to be complicit in the US military's strikes on these drug vessels and believes fundamentally that the US military's use of force against these vessels violates international law, according to multiple sources that we spoke to. Now, previously, the UK had been happy to help the United States locate and interdict vessels that were transiting the Caribbean that appeared to be trafficking drugs. But the key difference, of course, is that it was helping the Coast Guard intercept those vessels, arrest those on board, seize the drugs, and allowing these individuals to have some semblance of due process. But now the U.S., of course, has started striking these boats unilaterally with military force, killing everyone on board. The total now for number of people killed is around 76. And we're told that the UK is deeply uncomfortable with that, and they believe that it is pretty blatantly illegal.
America's allies, they're no longer confident that the US will act responsibly under Donald Trump's leadership, whether it's diplomatically or militarily. And that's why this Greenland appointment is getting the reaction it deserves. Because while I'd like to chalk this up to Donald Trump's latest Epstein distraction,
like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents.
He's made it abundantly clear that he's not giving up on this very idea. Unsurprisingly, the man with countless sexual assault accusations and who was found liable of committing sexual assault can't take no for an answer. Which honestly now poses the question, is the United States still a stabilizing force or a destabilizing one? That question used to be asked about Russia, and now it's being asked about the country helmed by a man desperate to emulate his authoritarian heroes.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.